Last class, what we have done? Basically, we have started with the rights of Bhumidhar. And in concept of rights of Bhumidhar, we have done first thing, that is known as right of exclusive possession. Right of exclusive possession. And in the context of understanding right of exclusive possession, हमने Bhumidhar with non-transferable rights, and Bhumidhar Assami. We have understood how this concept is available to all these three. In this only we have understood the concept of use for purpose of agriculture, non-agriculture, or any other purpose. And in this context only we have done under section 80 the declarations and its effect. This is what we have done till date. Prior to that class, we have done types of tenure holders, history of the act, purpose of the act, important definitions of the act, officers and the court of act. This is all we have done, and we have done the types of rights. So I make a list to you, types of right में I make a list, and in that list, one by one, we are doing different types. One we have done, a right to have an exclusive possession. Today's right of discussion will be, the right on which it will be discussed is the right to transfer. We will try to understand basically three broader rights: right to transfer, a right to mortgage, right to lease, and right to exchange. These broader rights will be covered by me today. This all belong from section 88 approximately till section 105. I can say 106. It cover 106, 107 also. So at least 88 to section 105 we will be covering today. So let us go with one by one, section wise. So let us go into section 8. So my first topic of discussion is right to transfer. Right to transfer in the context of three perspective. First is Bhumidhar with transferable rights, Bhumidhar with non-transferable rights, and Assam. So who have these rights and who don't have these rights, we'll try to understand. So in all three contexts you will do, whether Bhumidhar with the transferable right have right to transfer or not, whether Bhumidhar with non-transferable rights have right to transfer or not, or whether the Assami has right to transfer or not. Right. So before getting into what do you mean by right to transfer, can anyone tell me what do you mean by transfer? Basically, when I say transfer, it means transfer of property. Transfer of property. So before getting into the concept right to transfer means what? Right to transfer agricultural land, है ना? This is agriculture.
Yes, sir. Transfer basically means to transfer title or ownership of the property.
Transfer of property. Hand raise कभी करिएगा please, ताकि मैं समझ पाऊँ, ताकि मैं आपको सुन पाऊँ अच्छे से. How many people know what do you mean by transfer of property? तो आप प्लीज एक बार हैंड रेज करिए. जिसने भी बोला था मुझे उसका नाम भी नहीं पता चला कौन था. इसलिए मैं डिस्कस कर रहा हूँ. यस, राजदीप. यस, राजदीप बताइए.
Yes, sir. Basically, transfer means to transfer the title and ownership of the property or land or any movable or movable property.
Transfer of any movable or immovable. How many people have already completed in their course the subject transfer of property? You have gone through because this is your last semester, so you have studied. This is transfer of property means transfer of immovable and movable property. My question is this. When I say transfer, obviously, transfer means to alienate. to alienate or to give, ठीक है, to sell or to give something from one person, give something to another person. When it's called property, they are talking about property. My question is, when I say transfer of property, so basically Rajdeep says transfer of property means transfer of immovable or movable property. In our context, we are talking about agricultural land. So basically, we are focusing upon immovable. We are focusing upon immovable property. But important is not this. Important is this. What do you mean by the term property? What do you mean by term property? Because when you say transfer of property, the transfer of immovable or movable property you are saying, so you are still not defining the term. Property can have two types, movable, immovable. My question is, what do you mean by the term property? Can anyone tell? What do you mean by the term property?
Sir, anything which has something value or valuable security,
Property is basically nothing. Property is an
or it is able to convert in a valuable security or money.
नहीं.
That is property.
Property is an interest. याद रखिएगा. Property is nothing. Property is an interest. It can be in a form of possession, है ना? It can be form of ownership. It can be in a form of enjoyment. It can be anything, but property is nothing. It is an interest. So when we say transfer of property, we say transfer of interest. ठीक? So basically, when I'm saying right to transfer, obviously Transfer of Property Act की बात नहीं करूँगा. When I'm saying Section 88 uses the word transfer of interest. Basically, so they are not only talking about sale. They are not talking about sale. They are talking about so many other things. So when I say transfer, so basically transfer, सब लोगों को लगता है it's about sale. It's not sale. It includes sale. It includes mortgage. It includes lease, etc. No. It can include everything. So when I say transfer, that means transfer of interest. When we make a transfer of interest through sale, we transfer both possession and ownership. When we transfer mortgage, sometimes we transfer possession, sometimes we do not transfer anything, only document. When it's lease, we only transfer possession. Transfer only possession. That for enjoyment, particular time. No. This is a different situations. So when I say right to transfer, so basically I'm saying in context of both sale, mortgage, lease. हम इनको अलग से भी पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है? तो Section 88 is a general provision regarding right to transfer via the Bhumidhar. Let us read. So we will focusing upon all these three contexts. Bhumidhar with non-transferable rights, and Assamese. So first of all, let us go into Section 88. What Section 88 says? Transferability of a Bhumidhar interest. So this is transferability of Bhumidhari interest. When I say transferability of Bhumidhari interest, that means this section is going to talk about both Bhumidhar with transferable rights and Bhumidhar with non-transferable rights. We all know Bhumidhar is of two types: Bhumidhar with transferable rights, Bhumidhar with non-transferable rights. So Section 88 says transferability of Bhumidhari interest. So both in the context of Bhumidhar with transferable rights, Bhumidhar with non-transferable rights. What this is? Section 88 का clause 1. The interest of a Bhumidhar with transferable rights shall, subject to the provision of this code, be transferable. So this is interest of Bhumidhar with the transferable right is transferable. This is first thing. This says the interest of a Bhumidhar with the transferable right is transferable. What does it mean basically? What does it mean? that any person who is a bhumidar with transferable right have a right to transfer the property. When I say transfer, you understand transfer of interest की बात कर रहे हैं. So sale, mortgage, lease. Then they further says, subject to the provision of this code. Subject to provision of this code. When I say subject to the provision of this code, what does it mean? That this right to transfer of a bhumidhar is not an absolute right. No, it is not an absolute right. That right to transfer property by bhumidhar with transferable right is not an absolute right. Right. Then it is subject to certain restriction. Subject to certain provisions. When I say provisions, that means there are certain provisions in this code only, under UP Revenue Code only, where the right to transfer of property has been guided, or it has been channelized, the manner in which it is being provided in the section. So how it is being channelized? So let us understand how it is being channelized, subject to the provision of this act. If I say subject to the provision of this act, we have to understand. First, subject, अगर मैं समझाने की कोशिश करूँ, subject to provision. So on what subject? यानी कि if you want to enjoy the right of section 88, what things you have to go through? So first is section 89, sorry. Section 89 is the first restriction available upon the transfer right of a bhumidhar. This is the first restriction available. Let us read section 89 and find out the restriction. So this is the first subject to the provision. That is the right of a bhumidhar with transferable right. The पहला restriction क्या है? यानी कि वो it is a subject to this provision. 88 is a subject to this provision. That means I have a right to transfer the property. I can transfer my property, but first of all I have to read section 89. What there says. Let us read section 89. This is, no bhumidhar shall have right to transfer. Okay, na? They are opening. This is a negative line opening. No bhumidhar shall have right to transfer. No bhumidhar shall have right to transfer. When they say no bhumidhar shall have right to transfer, ab kya? Have the right to transfer any holding or part thereof, where such transfer contravenes any of the provisions of subsection 2 and subsection 3. So that means transfer. यहाँ पे जो transfer word use किया, this is about sale. Sale in contravention of section 89 is, याद रखिएगा, void. Nothing is allowed to transfer beyond section 18. कहाँ दिया हुआ हम पढ़ेंगे. No transfer violating section 89 is allowed. तो सेक्शन 89 को वायलेट करने वाला कोई भी प्रोविजन अलाउड नहीं, ट्रांसफर अलाउड नहीं. एंड देन व्हाट इज सेक्शन 89? Clause 2 and clause 3 create the restriction of the transfer, manner of transfer. What this is? Subject to the provisions of subsection 3. 89 clause 2. What 89 clause 2 says? Subject to the provision of section 3 वो हम पढ़ लेंगे. No person shall have the right to acquire by purchase or gift any holding or part thereof. अब देखिए साफ साफ क्लियर कर दिया. They are now using ऊपर word transfer. Now they are using this section 89 applies upon purchase. तो the transfer को उन्होंने यहाँ पे clarify कर दिया कि when we are using the word transfer in the context of section 89, तो basically they are talking about two things, purchase और gift. मैंने आपको फर्स्ट ही पढ़ाया था 88 में The word transfer include lease also, include mortgage also, it includes sale also, it include gift also. Out of that, they are saying no person shall acquire purchase a right acquired by purchase or gift of any holding or part thereof from Bhumidhar with a transferable right. Basically, they are saying purchase or gift by or from Bhumidhar with transferable rights. Or I will say formally, purchase or gift from Bhumidhar with transfer. If you are purchasing a gift or you are purchasing a property or somebody is gifting you a property who is a Bhumidhar with the transferable right, तब क्या होना चाहिए? This is where the transfer as a result of such acquisition become entitled to the land which together with the land, if he have any, held by such transferee, where the transferee is a natural person, all together with the land, if any, held by his family shall exceed 5.586 hectare in Uttar Pradesh. They are saying, what they are saying, no Bhumidhar with transferable right should hold property beyond 5.50586 hectare. When I say 5.0586, that is 12.5 acres. It will come 12.5 acre approximately. कैसे आएगी वो भी मैं समझाता हूँ. What section 89 is saying? Section 89 says, if A transfers the property to B, then B should not exceed the total property he have. Total property he have beyond 12.5 acres. ठीक है, उसके पास जितनी प्रॉपर्टी है वो 12.5 एकड़ से ज्यादा नहीं होनी चाहिए. दिस इज. दूसरा क्या है? बी शुड बी अ नेचुरल पर्सन. शुड बी अ नेचुरल पर्सन. फर्स्ट. सेकंड, प्रॉपर्टी 12.5 acres mean total property held by family. Word family means husband, wife and minor children. याद रखिए. The word family basically means husband, wife and a minor children. तो what section 88 says? तो अगर 88 कहता है, 88 बोलता है A if is a Bhumidhar, if is Bhumidhar with transferable right, he can transfer his property to anyone. किसी को भी ट्रांसफर हो सकता है, doesn't matter. But if A transfer property to B and B holds or B's property after purchase exceed 12.5 acres, तब क्या? Such sale is not allowed. Such sale or gift not allowed. इसको allowed नहीं किया. और suppose if still happens, अगर ये अभी भी हो जाए, मतलब this rule is there but still it happens, याद रखिएगा, transfer become void under section 104 and property gets vested in government, or I say state, vested in a state under section 105. और 105 में कहाँ चली गई? स्टेट में वेस्ट हो गई. तो दिस इज द फर्स्ट थिंग अंडर सेक्शन 88 यू हैव टू सी. That because why you have to see, because if you transfer, आपका कोई loss नहीं होगा, but your property will not come back to you, it will go to the state, and the person who is buying is obviously a complete loss is this. This is the first restriction to see on the transfer. But याद रखिएगा, this restriction is available only in the case of purchase or gift. So you are getting property through will, through succession, this rule will not apply. Only in the case of purchase and gift, not in the case of succession. So you are holding a property already 12.5 acre and you get property through succession, whereby your property exceeds 12.5 acre. No, this is not the situation. If you are exceeding your property beyond by through purchase or gift, then only section 88 and 9 is applicable. Firstly. Secondly, you remember that it avoids natural person. Natural person. Section 89 applies only on natural person. When I say natural person, that means legal person can have it. Legal person can have property beyond 12.5 acres. And this is 89 clause 3 में explain किया, हम पढ़ेंगे अभी. 89 clause 3 हम पढ़ेंगे, तो explain किया. Another important thing that you have to know, 12.5 acres means in Uttar Pradesh. That means he must not hold property in Uttar Pradesh. So he is holding property anywhere than Uttar Pradesh. Then section 89 will not apply. Then section 89 will not be applicable. When I say 12.5 acres, so basically it is 5.058 hectare. It means 0.5 hectare. So basically, अगर आप practice करते हैं तो 1 hectare is equal to 2.471 acres. 1 हेक्टेयर में 2.471 हेक्टेयर होता है. तो 5.058 into 2.471 result into 12.49 something, approximately 12.50 whole something. It turn into 12.50 acres, and that's why I'm using the word acres. अगर आप प्रैक्टिस में तो आपको ये कुछ यूनिट्स आने चाहिए. 1 हेक्टेयर इज इक्वल टू 2.471 acres. ये आपको आना चाहिए 1 acre is equal to 4840 square feet. These are the standard units you will find while practicing in code. तो आपको ये कम से कम ये 2 यूनिट तो पता होना चाहिए. ऐसे बहुत है स्क्वायर फीट के अलावा, ठीक है, सेंट में है, कनाल है, बिस्वा है, दैट इज अनदर थिंग, वो आपको जरूरत. चलिए, तो 1 प्रोविजन वी हैव अंडरस्टैंड. तो सेक्शन 88 क्लॉज 1 का सब्जेक्ट टू द प्रोविजन में, सब्जेक्ट टू प्रोविजन में वी हैव अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग, दैट इज सेक्शन 89 का क्लॉज 2. ये सबको क्लियर हो गया? प्लीज लेट अस रीड सेक्शन 89 का क्लॉज 3. मैंने पढ़ा दिया है, बस रीड करना है. दैट इज मीन्स basically this deal with the transfer to natural person, उस पर लिमिट क्रिएट करते हैं. and this deals with transfer to legal person, transfer to legal person. when I say legal person, company, association, firms, partnership deeds and वो सब जो, this is the state government or officer authorized for the purpose under this act may approve the acquisition or purchase done or proposed to be done in excess to the limit specified in clause 2 if such acquisition or purchase is in favor of a registered firm, company, legal partnership firm, limited liability partnership firm, trust, society or any educational or charitable institution, and if it is of the opinion that the acquisition or purchase would be a public interest and likely to generate economic activities other than agriculture and provide employment. In such case, the provision of Uttar Pradesh Imposition of Ceiling Act shall not apply. What is this? This says 89(3) में legal person can buy property exceeding 12.5 acres. What condition says? First condition is state government approval. Without approval, you cannot buy. You have to take the approval firstly. Secondly, it must be for economic development. Economic development का नेचर कैसा होना चाहिए? थोड़ा must not be agriculture. ये तीन चीजें होंगी. तो आप एग्रीकल्चर पर्पस के लिए यूज नहीं करोगे. इट कैन बी यूज फॉर एनी अदर पर्पस. ठीक है. और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का अप्रूवल लोगे. लीगल पर्सन, व्हेन आई से लीगल पर्सन, बेसिकली मींस फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ दिस एक्ट. लीगल पर्पस कैन बी कंपनी, कैन बी फर्म, कैन बी पार्टनरशिप, LLP, limited liability partnership, education institution, etc. Right, it can be anything. This is limited liability partnership. Right. This is the restriction. परमिशन देखिएगा. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का जो अप्रूवल है बेसिकली, इसके लिए इन्होंने क्लॉज 4 दिया है. हमको पढ़ना नहीं है उसको, बट आपको पता होना चाहिए. क्लॉज 4 कौन कौन अप्रूवल करेगा. बेसिकली 3 कैटेगरीज में अप्रूवर है. इट कैन बी अप्रूव्ड बाय कलेक्टर, it can be approved by commissioner, it can be approved by state government. इन्होंने इसको कैटेगराइज किया. व्हाट इज द कैटेगराइजेशन? अगर 12.5 to 20 acres को है, not 12. 5.05 hectare to 2.5 up to 20.2 हेक्टेयर्स अगर प्रॉपर्टी है, तो 5.5 हेक्टेयर से लेकर 20.2 हेक्टेयर तक अगर प्रॉपर्टी है, कलेक्टर हैव पावर टू. 20 से 40 हेक्टेयर तक है, कमिश्नर कैन गिव. अगर 40 हेक्टेयर से ऊपर की प्रॉपर्टी आप ले रहे हो, ठीक है, इट विल बी गिवन बाय स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. तो दे हैव कैटेगराइज्ड that any legal institution, any private person, any legal person can acquire a property in Uttar Pradesh beyond 12.5 acre. So obviously till 12.5 acre you don't have any problem, you can buy it yourself without any permission. But beyond 12.5, firstly you must not be a legal natural person. You must not be a natural person, you must be a legal person. Legal person, when this is company, partnership, firm, limited liability partnership, etc. It can be anyone, and they can acquire property beyond 5.5 hectare to any limit. There is no limit for that. But for that purpose, firstly, if their property exceeds from 5.5 up to 20 hectares, they have to take a prior permission from the collector. Firstly. Secondly, if property exceeds 20 to 40 hectares, they have to take the prior permission from the commissioner. If the property exceeds 40 hectares and above,